It wasn't intimidating at all, being at those rallies and speaking to those crowds, just knowing that they were there to they were there to hear us, and they wanted to know, what did this ticket represent? So it was never intimidating, it was invigorating.
Was it kind of surreal to go from being our small state governor one day, and then a couple days later drawing tens of thousands of people at rallies, being watched by 38 million, however many?
I don't think that I've had time yet to consider that some would think it's surreal. It felt comfortable all along. It wasn't, again, as I say, it wasn't intimidating, and it didn't feel so unnatural as to be a surreal feeling when we were out there. It felt like, yeah, we've got a job to do, and let's get from point A to point B every day and get that job done.
Can I do it again in 2012?
I do not know what will happen in 2012. No idea. That's an exciting thing about life. You never know what's around the next corner, and you never know what door is going to be open, or what opportunity you'll have to plow through some closed door. You never know what's going to happen.
What about in 2 years? Are you going to run for governor again, or Senate?
Don't know that either. Don't know. Just very thankful for the opportunity that I have right now to be halfway through a term, knowing that we have so much work to do, and the opportunity that we should be thankful for in Alaska is with much of the eyes of the nation on Alaska. And I used to say this even before a couple months ago. I knew that people were looking at Alaska, seeing what was going on up here with our resources, with the opportunities that we had to contribute more to the rest of the United States. We should be thankful that with the eyes of the nation on Alaska, we have an opportunity to do things right up here. Politically, we need to be responsible, ethical, fair up here. And then with our resource development, we, more so than any other state, have an opportunity to lead on energy policy, which has been sorely lacking in the nation, and start contributing more to the U.S. and allowing our nation to be secure and prosperous. The things that take place up here in Alaska, I think, will be instrumental in what direction our nation goes with security and economic prosperity. It's nonsense that we are relying on foreign sources of energy to the degree that we are, when Alaska has much of the resources that the rest of the nation could utilize. But we're only going to be able to get there with the allowance to develop, and with the ability to develop, if we do things up here right, ethically, responsibly, taking care of the environment and the workforce and everything else. It's got to be a combination of things coming together for Congress and the rest of the U.S. to allow us to really ramp up development in Alaska.
What was one of the high points of being on the campaign?
It was when there was recognition of the uniqueness of Alaska, and that was made manifest, I think, by the questions that were asked of me by national press about what it is that Alaska had to offer, what made Alaska so unique, or why would a governor from Alaska even be considered to be in a supportive role on a presidential ticket. And it was a high point for me every time I was asked something about Alaska. What do we have to contribute? And to be able to spread that pro-Alaska message across the U.S.
It probably should have been a day of Obama being all over television, but it was you.
And that's a shame, because this is an historic moment. This is time for optimism in our country. When you look at what the will of the people just ushered in, they wanted definitive change here, and that is what he represents. And I looked at it too at the coverage, going, wait a minute, where's our priorities, nation? You know, we should be looking at who he is surrounding himself with, what already out of the chute he's looking at for policy changes. It's that important. What isn't so important is, you know, some of the inside baseball strategies with campaigning and you know, the clothes issue. That was a whole ridiculous issue also. That's certainly secondary.
Are there things that you think the campaign maybe should have done differently to better take advantage of what you brought to the ticket?
I wish that they, to tell you the truth, would have allowed more discussion on energy independence and what it is that we have accomplished up here in Alaska in terms of reform of government. Things that we do here that on a federal level, they could look at what we're doing, they could implement these solutions that we found in Alaska, and our nation would be better off. The transparency in government, the ethics reform, the putting the state checkbook online so that the public sees where all their dollars are being spent. Things that we've done up here in Alaska to kind of, what I talked about in the rallies was to put government back on the side of the people. We talked about sort of in general terms how to do that, but we could have, should have given more specific examples of here is how a governor of a state that's been able to transform much of government, here is how she did it, and she had to do it by working across the aisle, Republicans, Democrats, Independents. Alaska is doing a lot of things right, and I wish we would have had more time and opportunity to articulate what it is that we've done up here. Not me personally, but what just the will of the people has been up here in mandating changes in government.